What's up, everybody? This is going to be a brand new series on security and authentication. And the first thing we're going to be talking about in this video is modifying the user model and also talking about JWT, JSON Web Tokens. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So we're actually going to kick things off with customizing our user model. So on the email property, we need to define if it's actually unique or not, meaning that if the email already exists inside the collection, we need to actually tell Mongoose that. So inside this, we're going to actually add a property called unique. Okay, and it's a boolean, so it's going to be true. We want that email to be unique. Another thing we're going to add is validate. Okay, so validate is an actual Mongoose property, and Mongoose has this thing called custom validate, which we're going to take a look at it right now. I already pulled it up. So custom validators, which means there's a simple example right here. They're checking for phone. They're going to validate, and they're going to have this function, the validator, as a function that tests the phone, the phone, if it's an actual phone or not. If it's not a phone, it's going to throw a message, an error message. This is what the message property is. It's going to throw a message of like whatever you want the error message to be. So this is basically it right here. Just these 4 lines or 5 lines of code. So let's take that into play. So we're going to validate. It's going to be an object, and we're going to have a validator right here, and it is going to be a function, no name, and it's going to take in the value. Okay, and we are going to return something, but I'm gonna wait for a bit, just wait a second for that. After that, we're gonna have a message just in case something does go wrong. A message, and it's gonna display in a, not in ticks but in quotes. You're gonna have the curly braces and capital value. So this is Mongoose personal method. So this is the way they do it to inject values into it. So we're gonna do value, or email is not a valid email. So for right here, for our personal function, we can create our own to actually check if it's email or not, but we're gonna use a third-party module called validator, and we'll look that up right now. So npm validator, yeah, the first one. So this is actual third-party module that checks if it's an email, but it checks more than just email, guys. Don't worry about it. It checks like if it's an ASCII, if it's a boolean. It also checks for credit card type, currency type as well. I mean, there's a lot of things it checks for, but we're going to be using the module specifically just for the method is email. So let's install that. I'm just copy this right here, copy that, go back in here, npm I, paste that, -- save. We're going to call it right in here, so const. Oh, you like my new color scheme, by the way, on my Atom? I was playing around with it. It's going to be called validator equals, we're going to require validator. Awesome. And you already know how to use it. It's right here. And I'm just going to actually just copy this right here. I'm going to paste that right in here and change this for the value. Okay, and we're gonna have to return that just like that, and that is it. This is basically it for email. Now we have to move on for password, because when they sign up, they're gonna need an email and a password, right? So let's go for that password. and we're gonna give it, it's gonna be the type of a string, so type string. It's gonna be required, so required true. And also we're gonna have a min length. They're gonna have to actually put a minimal length of 8 characters. So this is it for password, and we're gonna move on to tokens. So tokens is actually a JSON Web Tokens. That's what we're gonna be talking about. And let me just push this in here right now. I'm just write it right now. And actually, tokens is going to be an array of objects. Okay, why an array of objects? Well, the objects are for different devices. So if you log in with your desktop, that's an object token. If you log in with your phone, that's going to be another object. If you log in with another phone or another tablet, that's going to be another object. So we don't want the same object for all devices. That's like kind of like a security breach. This is why it's going to be an array of objects, and every object is going to have 2 properties: the access type, or the access property, which we will have to define, and the token property, which we also will have to define. So the access property is going to take in the token type. Okay, in this instance we're going to be focusing on authentication type, but there is other token types, such as validating email. You know, when you have to when you sign up, it tells you go validate your email, that if it's your actual email. And there's also like resetting passwords. Those are token types. There's more than that. I'm just giving you some examples. But this access property, it is going to be a string, and it is going to be required. So I'm just copy this right here and plug this in right here. Grab it and plug it in right here. And actually, token is going to be the same thing. But with token, it is going to be a string. But the thing is, it's going to be like a hashed, like a cryptic string set of characters. And I'm going to show you right now. Let's go over in here. Open up a new tab. We're going to go to JWT.io. And in here, this is how our token is literally going to look like. So this is the data that we want to encode right here. This is going to be the data, not this same data, but this is going to be the data, like our ID. So this is going to be the data that we want to encode. It's going to look something like this, our encoded token. This is how our token is going to look like. Okay, so there's 3 properties: the red, purple, and blue. The red is the header, which gives you the algorithm, what algorithm we're using, and what type of token it is, which is the JWT. The purple is the actual data that it's holding. It's encrypted, obviously. And the blue one is our secret kind of thing. So you're going to add your own secret right here. I mean, they added your 256-bit secret, this, whatever. But you could add whatever you want in here. Watch when I change this. This right here changes. Okay, see how that changes? But the thing, for the reason they have that is just an extra security. So anybody in here could actually use this algorithm and the JWT type and actually get the same result as from here to here. Anybody could grab the same result, but no one knows your secret. This is what changes everything, remember? No one knows the secret, which makes it harder for them to actually grab the whole token and actually go out there and start hacking accounts. So this is the they call it salting the hash. You should look it up if I didn't explain it very good, but it's just some phrase or whatever you want to put in here that'll actually it's only a secret for you and your server to know. That's it, nobody else. But this is the actual token we're going to be using. So let's go back over here, and that's it. And this is going to be it for our user model configuration. Okay, control save that. Now we're gonna go back into our server.js and actually add a route, or a user route, so that way we could create a new user. It's gonna be a post request because we're creating a new user. So it's gonna be a post request. So app.post. And the URL for this one is going to be //user users, just like that. And everything else is the same. So rec res arrow function Now for in here, we're gonna be a little bit more selective of what they're gonna send to us. You know, this is a post request, and this is where most attacks actually happen in the sign up route. You know, they need to sign in to actually, you know, start doing things to your account. So we're gonna take a little bit more precaution here, and we're gonna actually use the the underscore pick, the lodash.pick method, so that way we could just pick the things that we want from the object that they're sending in. Okay, so I'm just grab this, copy that, put it right here, and we're gonna we only want the email that they sent in and the password. All right, that's it for that. And then we're gonna create a new user with these properties inside of it. All right, now if you remember, .pick gives us back an object, so we can just put that object inside the user module. So we're gonna create a new user. So var user equals new uppercase user, and we're gonna just throw in the body in there. If you know where this new user, uppercase user, is from our model, the user model, which is right here where we got it from. Okay. So with that in place, we're gonna actually save it. So user.save, and then it's gonna return a promise. So then with the user, it's gonna give us back the user, and we're gonna say, if everything goes correct, res.send, we're gonna send out the user. Okay, now obviously if there's an error, which there might be, we're gonna cache that, the error, and we're gonna res.status we're gonna send out the 400, and we're gonna send the error as well. Control save that. Now we can actually test it out. I'm actually opening up RoboMongo, and we're gonna I'm gonna delete the to-do database. To-do test is for Mocha. To-do is our development database, and the only reason I'm deleting it is because I actually want to start out fresh, and it actually has some weird things in it. I've been doing some stuff inside of that, and it has some weird stuff. I actually want to start fresh. That's the only reason why I'm dropping it. So with that, I'm gonna open up Postman. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit sick. It's that time of year. And I already have it right here, where we're going to be posting to localhost 3000/users, which is the new route we just created. But before you do that, you need to start your server. So node server JS, and there we go. All right, in our body, we do need to add some, because we're sending some stuff back. Remember, we're posting something to the backend. So we're going to send an email and a password, which I already did. And right here, I'm going to delete one. And right here, I'm actually going to delete this. It should be email. All right, so I created this is actual and a good email, g@email.com. That's a legit email, even though I don't think I've ever seen an email, but as a legit email. But the password is wrong. We only have 7 digits. Now remember, we're requiring 8. The min length is 8. Okay, so this should throw out an error. Let's test it out. It does. Password correct, min length 8, and the message right here is shorter than the minimal allowed. Great, that's working good. So I'm gonna actually change that to I'm not gonna change that at all. I'm gonna actually change this to incorrect email, just like this. I'm gonna send that, and that should give us 2 errors now, which is, yes, the email error and the password error, which is great. And the message that it gives us back is not a valid email, and also the password. All right, let's actually test this out though. I'm gonna add 4, so that way it could be great. And it does give us back an ID, our user, with our email and password into it, which is awesome. Now, if I try to actually send this again, it should give me an email. I mean, it should give me an error because this email is already in use. Okay, I already created one, but if I try to sign up again, it should give me an error, and it does. All right, duplicate key to do users index email 1 dupe key g@email.com. Great. So this is all working perfectly the way we want it to. Now, as you could, if in the past one you didn't see any tokens, that's because we haven't set up our tokens yet. We're gonna do that right now. Just go back in here, and this is where we're gonna add methods. All right, we're gonna create our own methods. We're gonna create our own methods for our model user. Okay, for our user model. So there's two types of methods we can create. There's model methods and there's instance methods. Model methods is like find by one, find and delete. Those are called model methods. And instance methods are something that is per user. Like we're gonna generate an authentication token for a user. So it's user specific. That's an instance method. We're going to be focusing on this video anyways. We're going to be focusing on instance method for right now. In the next video, we are going to be doing a model method, but in this one, we're going to be a user method. So in order for us to actually create a method, this model right here, mongoose.model doesn't really support adding methods or custom methods to this model. Actually, we need to do something different in here. What we need to do is actually do mongoose.schema, and that's going to allow us to add customized methods to our model. So var is going to be user schema is going to equal mongoose dot schema, just like that. And it's actually going to be an object, and it's literally the same thing as in here. We're just defining what the schema is going to hold, which is going to be the email, the password, and the token. So I'm just grab this right here, cut that out, and paste that right in here. Awesome. And instead of passing an object right here, we're going to just pass in user schema right here. That is it. We haven't done anything yet. We haven't added a method. We just configured it so that way we can start adding customized methods to our models. Okay. So to add a customized model, we're going to actually write this bit of code right here. We're going to be targeting our user schema. Where do we want to add this custom method to, which is our user schema right here. It's going to be methods because we do want to add a method. So methods like this, and then we're going to name our method. I'm going to name it generate auth token. That's the name of my function, and this is literally going to be a function. Now you might be used to me actually doing arrow functions. The reason why I'm doing a normal function is because we actually need to bind this keyword, and arrow functions do not bind this keyword. It does not bind it. All right, we need to actually bind it because we're right here. You're about to see why. Because actually I want to get the user. We're gonna create a user that's gonna equal to this. Basically, whoever's calling it, that's gonna be the user. Okay. So in here, we're gonna do var. This is where we're gonna be creating our tokens. So var access, because we do need to set an access and a token. Okay. So var access is actually going to equal auth. We're going to do the token type auth. Like I said in the beginning, we're going to only focus on the auth token type. Like I said, there's other ones like verifying your email and password, or forgetting your password. What is that called again? You know, when you have to like redo a password. You know what I'm talking about. That's another type of token type. And then for our token, we're actually going to need to install a third-party module for that, okay? And that third-party module is literally the one I showed you over here, the JWT. but it's not called JWT, even though it's called JSON Web Token. So npm I JSON Web Token, just like that, -- save, and we're gonna call it in here. Okay, so const, I'm gonna call it JWT equals require JSON Web Token. Awesome, we got that. And now in here we're going to create our token. So var token is going to equal JWT. We're going to use the method JWT, and the method is called sign. We actually want to create a token, so the way we create it is JWT.sign. This is going to create our token for us, okay? And the sign takes in 2 arguments, okay? The first one is an object of the data that you want to save, all right? You want to encode, like over here. Pull this over here, the data. This is the data. So the first argument is the data that we want to send, which is an object. Let's go back in here. And what we want to save is actually the ID. So I'm going to put _ID. And remember, this ID is going to be coming from this user right here. So we're going to grab it from user dot _ ID. And remember, guys, when we get an ID from the collection in Mongo, it actually returns an object ID. We need to stringify that. So we need to do dot to hex string. Oh boy. All right. And we also want to store in the axis what type of token. So we want to store these two, the ID and the axis type. So axis right here. This is the data that we want to encode, okay? Now the second argument is actually the secret I was talking to you about. This secret right here. It could be anything that you want. It doesn't really matter. I'm gonna put some secret. That's it. Or some separate, whatever. This is my secret right here. I mean, it could be whatever you want. And this is actually kind of bad. This is bad practice. Actually typing in. No, down the line we are going to create an environment variable that stores our secret, and we're going to just call in the environment variable, just like we did with calling our mongoose over here. If you remember, like this, our environment variable, the process.env.port, we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to store our secret in one of these variables, okay? But right now, just for simplicity's sake, I'm just doing it like this. All right, now that we have our axis and our token, which is that weird hash right here, we're gonna actually have to save the user. So we're gonna save it, but we're gonna return the saved user. So return user dot save, and then obviously it's gonna return something. So it's gonna return a promise. So that then, but we don't really need anything from it. But we do need the function anyways. And in here, we're going to just return the token. Just like that. Control save. So remember, this token right here is literally going to have all this right here. Our axis and our token. Right? It's going to have both of those things inside of here. So we're returning the token. Now let's go back to our server and put that into use. Down here. Yes. Down. No. Down more. More down. Right here. So instead of right here, instead of sending this, I'm going to comment that out. And right now we're going to actually generate the token right in here. Before saving it, we're going to save it. It's going to return the user. And then once it returns it, we're going to generate that authentication token. So return. It's a callback. So we're going to basically call back this method we just created, right? So user dot generate right there, auth token, just like that. And since this is a callback, we're gonna have to put a then before this, dot then, and it's going to return the token, because remember we did put the token over here. It's returning a token, so we're gonna get the value token, and in here we're going to res, and we're actually going to have to set a header for this. All right, we're gonna set a header. So res header, the way you set a header is just literally res header. It's going to take in 2 arguments: the header type, which is x auth, and what the value is of that x auth. So it's a key value pair kind of thing. All right, so the x auth is the type, and the value is literally the token. So put that right here, and then we're gonna dot send it. So we're gonna send out the user because we're done. User, just like that. All right. Okay. We don't need this no more right here. And actually, we don't need this user in here anyways, okay? Because we're using this user over here. We're using exactly the same user right here. Is exactly the same thing. So we don't need it up here. We're defining it right there. So with this in play, let's actually test it out. Let's go back in here. And actually, I want you to do another one. I'm going to put Gmail. I'm going to change this email to a Gmail. Now send it. Remember to restart your server or start it up again. All right, now I'm gonna send it. All right, now I'm gonna send it. And we do not get a token back. Let's see what went wrong. And I did make a mistake. I know where to. Right here. This right here, this sign, this whole thing is inside the sign. This is actually going to return an object back. We want to stringify that, so we're gonna just tack on dot to string like that. Control save, and now let's try it again. Hopefully it does work this time. Here's hoping. I'm gonna do fmail. I'm gonna send that out. We get an empty object. Well, that's not good. Well, it knows it created it, so why did I get an hmail? Nope. All right, let's try something else. And once again, I misspelled it. To string. Just like that. Good grief. All right, let's try a mail. No, a mail. And we still get nothing for the tokens. All right, let me figure this out, guys, and then I will get actually back to you. All right. Okay, I figured it out. Actually, this is a pretty stupid mistake of my part. We forgot to push it onto the array, because this is an array, and we forgot to actually just push it in there. That's all. Just a little push. That's all we needed to do. Good. The way we're gonna do that is user.token. Tokens, because it's tokens. Okay, and that's gonna equal user dot token tokens dot concat. Okay, and since it's an array of objects, we're gonna concat access and the token. Just like that. All right. Now, if we actually run it, I promise you guys, this is it. This is it. As you can see, I haven't even done a right one, and I did S-mail, so I'm gonna do a B-mail. Send that, and we get our token back. Oh, pat in the back. I deserve that. That rhymed. So we get our token, the access, which is the auth type, and our token with the 3 properties inside of here. You see that? Those 2 dots. So this is one property, another property right there, and the other property right here, which is great. But actually, before I end the video, actually, when we're sending the stuff back, the people I don't want them to know. We don't want to send back their password and the tokens. There's no need for them to actually. There's no need for them to have this information. You know, they only need the ID and email. And this is another security kind of thing that we want to do. We don't want to send back the password and token. We just want to send back the ID and email. The way we're going to do that is override this method. What do I mean by that? Well, we're going to actually override what we send back to the user by creating another method. Okay, let's do that right now. So I'm going to just copy this right here up until the x equals. Put it right there, and this is going to be called to JSON. JSON. Okay, it's gonna be a function because I still want to bind the this keyword. And in here we're gonna do var use equals this, and we're gonna create another variable called user object, which is going to equal the user right here. This user dot to object. Okay, I'm gonna explain to you what's happening right now in a bit when I write this. All right. So user dot to, obviously this user sends back a Mongo. Sorry, I was like, is it Mongoose or Mongo? It's a Mongo object, okay, which is not the object that we actually want, because remember, Mongo objects actually have that ID type, right? The object ID. We don't want that ID. We don't want that object ID. We want that as an actual, just a plain old object. No, nothing too fancy. So this to object actually transforms that Mongo object into just a simple plain old object, okay? And that's what we want, just a plain object. So that's where we're saving right here in user object. And right here we're gonna do return. All right, we're actually going to do the underscore pick again, okay? So I'm just going over here, copy it right here. This right here, because we're gonna return this. We're gonna return underscore pick, and we're gonna send in this, the object. And from there, we want to just pick the email and the ID. So underscore, sorry, not even the underscore ID and the email. Just like that. Since we use the underscore or the low dash, we do need to add the module up here. So I'm just copy it from up here. Where is it at? Right here. Copy that. Paste that sucker right there, and that should do it. So right now, let me explain what's happening. We're actually overriding what we send back. So every time we're sending stuff back, this is what they're gonna send back when it creates a new user. It's literally gonna send back the underscore ID and the email. That is it, okay? So we're gonna actually verify that it works. I'm gonna create another one right now. Instead of Bmail, it's gonna be Mmail. Send that over. And that actually did not, I did not restart the server. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. I just did not restart the server. I did not restart the server. That's it. That was it. All right. ML. I'm going to do Kmail. Send that over. And voila. We have successfully sent back just the ID and the email. But if you look in the headers, you still get that, where's the headers right here? You still get that auth, and you still have that token that we wanted, but we just didn't send it back in the body. That's what we did not want. We did set the header, remember that, guys. We just didn't send it back here. So that is it for this video, guys. In the next video, we're gonna talk about hashing our password, because we're still storing our password as simple a string, and we're gonna actually be talking about making these routes private. Right now they're public routes. Anybody could go into to-dos API and update something from anybody's to-do. Anybody could update it. We actually gonna make this private, so that way only the person that made that to-do could update it or delete it. But that's in the next video, guys. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. Please leave a like or a dislike, and comment down below on what you think of my new scheme. Look at this. You gotta admire it. It's new color scheme and everything. I think it looks better. But just let me know what you think, guys. And if you need any help on anything, I'm here, guys. Just post it down in the comments, and I will gladly help you guys. So thank you so much for watching my videos, and I will see you in the next video.